Prosperous Life Podcast. This is Braiden Belnap. Thank you so much, each and every one of you that consistently show up on a week-to-week basis. As well, thank you so much for the ones that are brand new, and if you find value in this, I would encourage you to check out the other podcasts. With that in mind, let's go ahead and jump in. Today we're talking about that you don't have to settle. This world is a big world, and wherever you're living is a small city. And honestly, you have the ability to do anything. As long as you can see it here in your mind, you'll be able to conquer it in the real world. We're always capable of more growth. There's never a point in our human ability that we cannot grow more. We can always learn something. We can always do something. We can always apologize. We can always tell somebody else we love them. We can always help another neighbor. There's always more that we can do to grow and to make an impact ultimately. So, in other words, we're all going to die someday. We have the choice to die joyfully, or we have the choice to die crying. I wish you all, of course, a long, elderly life ahead of you, although we all will die, which in other words means we will never reach what we're capable of becoming. So we can only achieve as much as we can with our time allotted down here. Although it's very unfortunate, most people peak. Most people peak or go backwards in life. You have the opportunity to consistently grow. You don't have to grow, peak. See, most of us go to kindergarten, then elementary, then middle school, then high school, then college, and then flatline. And then we have kids, and then flatline. And then our kids go out of the house, then flatline. And then from there, sometimes we go backwards. We don't have to go backwards. We don't have to peak. We can just consistently grow. As long as you're implementing the right things in your life, you're putting the right things into other people's lives, you're teaching, you're reading books, you're working out, and you're doing it for you in the right reasons, life will consistently grow for you. You will always consistently become better. Now, this is for you whether you are growing, whether you're peaked, or whether you're going backwards. Because again, no matter where you're at, you can always be growing more. No matter where. With that in mind, what's important here is that we see where we want to go. We have a life vision. We see where we're at currently, and we see what our next steps are. And if we can accomplish that 3-step process, we'll always be walking forward. Now, the person that enjoys the journey over just the end destination will always go further than the person that just enjoys the destination. So let's enjoy the journey here on this podcast. Let's take that step together. And ultimately, let's enjoy this journey together. That's where the biggest impact is. That's where we spend most of our life. So let's enjoy it fully. Now, today, I want to talk about where you're at, where you're wanting to go, and how to fill the gap, ultimately. Because if we implement just this 3-step process alone, you'll always be moving forward. You'll never settle. You'll always begin to grow more. You'll always have more confidence. You'll always be showing up for yourself. You'll always be, changing and transforming that identity. You'll begin to walk with confidence. You'll begin to show the world what you're really capable of doing. You'll be showing yourself what you're capable of doing. You'll be able to transform your family. Life's a beautiful thing when you don't settle, when you consistently grow. So, here's a question. What if you could see what you were capable of doing through God's eyes, right? Would you show up? You don't need to see what you're capable of doing. You don't need to see it to know you are capable of more. Now, I want you to let you know. So, in our society, as humans, we are just honestly, there's times in my life that I haven't felt worthy. There's times in my life I haven't believed in myself. There's times in my life I didn't think that I could do something. Now, and I know every single person watching this has also felt that way. Either they're feeling that now or they have in their past. And some of you may feel that in your future. That's okay. So as a life coach, when somebody doesn't believe in themselves, I have them begin to see themselves through a third party's eyes. For me, what does God see in you? And when you can picture what God sees in you, what he believes in you, you can understand that he gave you a life and that you're a powerful individual and that you are full of purpose. So we take that and we begin to show up in that intention. We begin to show up the way God believes in us. From there, we will consistently grow. And as you grow and you put the belief that God has in you, you're then going to begin to have belief in yourself. Because you are showing up for the way you know you're capable of doing. So with that in mind, you don't have to see it to believe it. You just have to see it and believe it here, and then you'll begin to see it in real life. If you can see it in your mind, you'll see it in real life. If you can see it through God's eyes, you'll see it in real life. Now, it's very unfortunate, but most people wait until the end of their lives to wish they did more. I know for the fact that the people on their deathbeds wishing that they did more, wishing they did something else, wishing that they were having more time to go do those things. They had the opportunity their entire lives to transform and not to have regrets, but at the end of their life. As I mentioned before, we all die. It's our choice how we show up today. It's our choice how we show up tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. So ultimately, when we get to the end point, we have the choice to die joyfully or die crying. And it's a lot more easy to die joyfully at the end of our lives if we take this moment by the hand and do what we know that's best for us. So let's talk about that. Let's have a very good evaluation of where you're at right now, right? Step 1, where are you at? What are you not satisfied with? Is it the job you're working? Is it that you're not going to college? Is it that you're not starting the business you wanted to? Is it that you're not doing a hobby? Is it that you're not showing up in your relationship the way you want to? Is it that you're not making the money you want? Is it that you're not happy with yourself? Is it that you're not happy with your body? What results are you not happy with? Are there thoughts that you're having serving you and taking you to your purpose and your destiny? Or your thoughts taking you away? Your emotions, are they taking you towards your purpose and your destiny, or are they taking you away? What about your actions? What about your values? What about your beliefs? Where are you at right now? Are you living with parents that you don't want to? Are you living in a house that you don't necessarily care for? Are you not reading? What are you doing right now that you know you shouldn't be doing? What are you not doing right now that you know you should be doing? Begin to ask these questions and really have an understanding of, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm happy with. This is what I'm not happy with. And we're going to focus on what you're not happy with, because ultimately by transforming that area of things is where the results will come in from transforming it. So let's have a good understanding now. Let's imagine that you don't transform, you don't change for the next 1, 5, 10 years. What does life look like for you? Some people might say, well, it might just look the same. Okay, it might look the same, but how painful is that, really? You're not achieving your purpose. You're not achieving your dreams. You're not achieving your ambitions. One, what does that do for you? Do you really want to show your kids that you can't transform Do you really want to be the role model to your kids, showing them that you can't follow your dreams, your purposes, your ambitions? What about your grandkids? What about your family, your siblings? What about your cousins? What about the community? What about the world? A charity that I really love and enjoy is OUR, Operation Underground Railroad. The owner has started a charity that has impacted human trafficking, specifically with children. Now, I know that human trafficking may never go away. It may never go away. Probably won't. But think of all those kids that have been rescued based upon one person's ambitions, one person's goals. And it started by one operation. And that one operation was phenomenal. The first one that he ever did, it took kids off of the human trafficking. It got them into therapy to get into the real world so they could live the life that they dreamed about. So one person's dreams, one person's ambitions, one person's choice to transform their lives has now impacted millions, if not billions, of lives. So what about you? Your dreams and your ambitions can be that big. Your dreams, your ambitions can impact people in this world in an extraordinary way. In fact, I already know you're impacting people in a way that they deserve. So by you not showing up, what is that doing to yourself? What is that doing to your family? And what is that doing to the world? Now think of it on the other side. Let's say you do transform. Let's say you do transform every single day, one step at a time for the next 1, 5, 10 years. What does life look like? How has that impacted yourself? Financially, business-wise, career-wise, material-wise, relationship-wise, so on and so forth. And ultimately, what does that do for your community, your family in this world? If I told you right now, if you showed up day after day, that you will impact millions of lives in the next 10 years, let's just imagine one specific person. Let's imagine the kid at school right now in elementary school, middle school, getting bullied by groups of kids, and he thinks that he should commit suicide because he's not enough. What if in 10 years, by you showing up day after day, you say something, this kid hears, it gives him a purpose, and he shows up for the rest of his life? You're not just showing up for the world, you're showing up for that one person. That one person, you have the chance to save people's lives. And by you not showing up, it is very selfish. You know, like 1 year ago, 5 years ago, when you were in the hardest place in your life, crying in your car, whatever the case was, you're showing up for you, but in a different person's body. That's you. So, ultimately, you understand where you're at, and you understand why transformation is so important to you. So I think it's time, wouldn't you agree? What are we transforming into? So let's say I have a thought of, I'm not capable of inspiring people through my transformation life coaching. Well, obviously the flip side of that is I can transform people's lives, and I will. So when a thought comes to your mind, emotion, a value, whatever is not serving you, ultimately whatever you want to transform in your life, you want to take that, you want to understand it, and you want to transform it. We don't just want to give it a one-on-one. We want to do a 2-on-1. Because if you're in the boxing match and you're 1-on-1, it's kind of 50-50 at that point. Thought after a thought. But if you do 2-on-1, you're going to win. Your chances are much higher. So if I have a thought, I am not inspiring, I cannot transform people's lives, obviously I want to tell myself I can inspire people's lives, and I will transform people's lives, and I can inspire. But I want to give it more power. I am Braiden Belnap. I am a transformational life coach. I will inspire people. I will transform people's lives, and I will inspire the world so I can make millions of impacts in this life. You want to begin to give it passion, and that didn't really flow. Obviously, if you're going to do a declaration, have a little thought to it. But what I'm telling you here is you want to give it power. You want to give it the umph so that you overcome that negative belief. You overcome that negative thought. You overcome that emotion. And we want to take action immediately. The action, what can you do right now? So after doing that, I can message one inspirational quote to somebody. I can tell somebody I love them, whatever that is. And then I want to have a forever action to show myself that I can do that, to reinforce the new belief. So my next action could be, transforming and setting quotes to 5 different people, posting a post a day, whatever the case is, and it's forever evolving. Now, we understood where you were at, and you transformed a little snippet of your life. So we ultimately want to understand that we're always becoming something greater. If we can become somebody different, we can achieve different results in our life. So in the moment, you are capable of changing this moment. In this moment, you're capable of changing this moment. I have one question to you. Are you capable, if I gave you even money for it, could you change tomorrow? And can you change yesterday? That's definitely a nope. You're not capable of doing that. You can only change this moment. The power of the moment you have to show up fully in this one moment can transform your entire life. And if you show up fully this moment, and then the next moment, and then the next moment, and the next, and so on and so forth, life will look pretty extraordinary. It's ultimately your choice on what you choose to do. You're enough for this moment, and you're enough for the next. Show up for this moment, change your life. Most people are focused on the past and the future so much that they miss out on this moment. And then they miss out on the next and the next. They're shooting for something big. They're shooting for that destination. And they forget that the journey is the most important part. So much that they forget about the journey. And then they miss out on the journey and they miss out on the destination. You have the opportunity to transform that. Be in the moment's present time. Of course, the transformational process we went through is helping really you understand and evaluate and transform our current moment and where we're at, and consistently transforming moment to moment. But when you transform moment to moment, it allows you to be your best self, and it allows you to be your best self for the next moment, which makes you better. And again, growth. So we understand where you're at right now. Now, we want to see the future. What are we looking to become? What is your life vision? What all do you want to achieve financially in your life? Career-wise, business-wise, relationship-wise, impact-wise? Where do you want to travel? How do you want your health, your spiritual, your mental? Literally create a life vision for yourself. We're not going to go too deep into that today. Although when you see where you're at and then you see your life vision, you can see the gap. You can identify the gap. So even 1 to 100, if I'm at a 20, I need to go from 20 to 100, and I can physically see that gap. So as we're filling this gap, always understanding that you're becoming somebody new. Either one, you have the choice to consciously transform who you become, or 2, you're created by this world. It's kind of like a canvas. Your teacher tells you what to become, and it paints a little bit on your canvas. And then your parents tell you what to do in this world, paints a little bit of your canvas. And then a grandparent tells you what you can't do, paints a little bit of your canvas. And sooner or later, it looks like this big blob. Today, you have a choice to either consistently paint that way based upon other people's projections of yourself. So you're pretty much living this identity molded by everybody else but your own. And trust me when I tell you this, God created you, not for others. Just because you have cousins, family, parents, teachers telling you what you should do and who you should be in this world, doesn't mean that that's who you should be. What you do and who you become is between you and God. That is it. So you have a choice. You can take a paintbrush, white paint over your canvas. Doesn't take away from the past. It's still there. You can still look back and pull out those golden nuggets, those diamonds, and bring those lessons forward into your life. But you can paint the canvas white. You can have a new beginning. You can start that next chapter. And ultimately, how we want to fill this gap is with your purpose. Your purpose. What you're gifted at, what you love, and how you can make an impact and ultimately make money. So, purpose. We'll highlight this one step at a time on how to fill the gap. What you're gifted at this moment, or write it down so you can do it later today. I would suggest taking 5 minutes. Let's make this a 15-minute practice. Write down for 5 minutes what you're gifted at. What are you naturally gifted at? What are you naturally good at? What do you naturally have just a talent for? And give yourself 5 minutes. Even if you can't think about it, like you're not writing fluidly, that's okay. Just consistently think, what am I naturally good at? And write down anything. Communicating with people, connecting, empathy, art, paint, water, engineering, real estate, whatever you're naturally good at, write it down. This is what will fundamentally bring you into what you love. I'm not saying everything you're good at, you're going to love in life, by the way. Some things you're naturally good at, it doesn't mean you're going to love it. That's okay. So the next 5 minutes from what you are naturally good at, you're then going to write another section right by it, and you're going to write what you love. So what do you love out of that section? And in this time period, you might find things that you love that you're not naturally good at. Write it down. It's still important to you. Now, from there, take another 5 minutes, and this is your impact. How are you going to make an impact / make money? So for me, I believe I'm naturally good at communicating. I'm naturally good at talking. I'm naturally good at communicating with people. I'm naturally good at finding solutions for people. I'm naturally good at seeing the best version of people's lives. I'm naturally good at finding the best in people. So from there, I'm naturally good at that. What I love is coaching. I love teaching about personal development ultimately. That's what I love doing. So that's why I've written a book. That's why I'm coming out with a book, I should say. That's why I'm starting a group, so I can teach people, so I can coach people one-on-one in a group setting and ultimately move the needle forward for the community in this world. And the impact, well, I think that speaks for itself. Maybe it's not on you. I'm not for everybody. I'm very well aware of that. But maybe it's on your neighbor. Maybe it's on your family. I'm making an impact by showing people what they can do, how to live a prosperous life, which in turn has resulted in money, of course. So for you, it may not be transformational life coaching. It may be something else. But find out how you can make an impact and how you can ultimately make money. And that's how you should fill the gap. I'm not saying this has to be your full-time gig by any means, but this is directly tied to you. Your purpose is unique to you. The gifts you have is different than the gifts that everybody else has. What you love is completely different than what everybody else loves. And the way you're going to make an impact is ultimately different than everybody else as well. So fill the gap with your purpose and start there. Ultimately, just start and take one step at a time. Let's look at this at a mountain. We have a mountain here. And at the top, this is your destiny. This is what you're capable of becoming. And you're, let's just say, 3/4 up the mountain. As you begin to take a step towards the purpose, let's say transformation life coaching, who knows? I plan to do this forever. I may find something else. I take a different trail. It doesn't matter what trail you're taking. It doesn't matter what you do in this world. What matters is you just take a step at a time. Taking a step at a time allows you to consistently walk up the mountain, and ultimately, at the end, you'll be joyful and you'll be able to die in peace. This is your opportunity to live life fully. This is your opportunity to take a step at a time and fill the gap so that you're satisfied. It took me quite a bit of steps to find my rhythm. Once I transformed after middle school, 9th grade, summer, I started reading. I started looking into books. I started watching videos. I started conferences. I started transforming my life. But for a while there, I didn't walk with confidence. I still had my shoulders down, my head down. I didn't really know who I was. But after a couple steps, I found my rhythm. I got into sales. I started a business. Then I got into coaching because that's who I was. So it took a while, and that's okay. Ultimately, we're here again for the journey. If I didn't start taking these steps, where would I be at this time? Honestly, I was doing drugs. I was stealing. I may not be here talking to you right now. It's one step at a time that makes for a beautiful, extraordinary life. You don't need to feel like you're in your rhythm at the beginning. Just know that after you take a step at a time, you're kind of tuning your life. I mean, you don't go from an untuned guitar to making one subtle change to it being perfect. It's one twist of the guitar at a time. And at some point, that guitar sounds beautiful. And that's the life. That's the journey of life, is tuning the guitar. And you're going to keep strumming, and sooner or later, you're going to have to tune the guitar again. Maybe even get new strings. This is a journey of a lifetime. This life is full of possibilities for you, your family, and this world. So know that you don't have to feel like you're in tune right away, or you're in rhythm. Just keep taking that step forward and you'll find the way. So if you see where you're at, you see where you need to go, you see the gap, you're able to fill that one step at a time. You're able to become somebody else. You're able to fill it with purpose. With that in mind, thank you so much. Again, you don't have to settle. Know that you showing up every single week, and thank you for doing that. You're filling this gap forward. You're always becoming better. And if you're new, thank you so much for showing up. I hope you enjoyed the podcast, found value in it. If you did, I encourage you to look at the list. And with that in mind, subscribe. Leave a review. I want your honest feedback. So if I can be better, I want to know how I can be better so that I can serve the world better with my purpose. With that in mind, you have a wonderful rest of your day.